Okay, Michaela, how you doing? I've got your work up here. Now, you're stating that the first one turned out better than the other two, or the other three. But so the first one turned out compared to the second and third one. But that doesn't make, I mean, well, that makes perfect sense because this is you don't have the facial characteristics to deal with. So this is a completely different animal right here. Um, as far as this, since this isn't a facial, basically, if it's not a facial, it's more of it's a mask. So it's going to be a lot easier to illustrate, right? So for that reason, I would recommend that you go ahead and add some of the texture that we can see and watch that shadow right there. Let's get some shadows going on and let's start to depict the dimensionality and the depth associated with the roundness of the mask itself. Right now we just see completely flat. And that's okay. Now we're not going to use gradients to do so. You're just going to use different tonal variations. So it is technically a flat avatar. However, you do want to depict some of the dimension based on tonal variations as opposed to things like gradients. So I'd recommend that there. I think these are great. I mean, I think it's a really great start. The line work is there. Your hard lines are in place. One of the things I'm seeing, and it's really difficult for me to ascertain the success of these because the images that you placed in here are so distorted. Do you see what I'm saying? So I can't look at this and say, hey, is this a reasonable depiction of this portrait simply because this is so distorted? I will say that it's a good start. One thing I'm noticing over and over in your compositions, this one again, for example, here, this one looks, the face here looks to be much thinner than the face here. Now, I don't know if that is due to the fact that has this been distorted also, or is this the way the image appears? Do you see what I'm saying? If it's the way the image appears, then this is much, much thinner. The facial characteristics are much thinner through this example. So that would need to be addressed, okay? Will Smith, I think, looks fantastic. Really great start there. The one thing I would recommend, I think that's really throwing things off is you've just gone to a completely different hue and tonal value where the neck area is. Each of the necks and the ears are just really considerably darker than the skin tone associated with the facial area. So that's something that would need to be represented as well. Now, finally, the only thing, now, even though these are flat avatars, I would still like to see a bit of tonality, a bit of a representation of depth and volume. And you can do that by providing, solid variations. Like for me, one of the most important areas in this portrait here is the eyes, especially these kind of wrinkles and this shadow area right through here. So we need to depict that shadow area right through here, and down through here. But we definitely want to show some of those kind of wrinkles in that furred brow. I think that's really a defining characteristic. Typically, the eyes are going to be the most defining characteristic. So again, here, I think the skin tone here is a little bit off, as that looks a little bit green in its hue. I know it's not, but it just appears that way against the other depictions of skin tone. So this looks like a little bit zombie-like, and it's really easy to fall into that when you're in your development stage. So don't get frustrated, just keep working. I think these are too prominent, the lines, those lines under the eyes. I think those are really super prominent, and those are depicted as hard lines. Well, there's no such thing as a line on somebody's face. It's all based on how the shadow reacts to different ridges and such in the face. So we wouldn't typically have these hard lines to depict these age lines. It would be more tonal variations. So think about that as well. Will looks great. I think just a couple of tonal variations in the face and you're there. So just, you know what, I recommend looking at those tutorials a couple of times in week 7, and also there's 1 or 2 located in week 6. So take a look at those tutorials and just keep working. You're doing just wonderful. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.